Hi there, you are at the Ripple Wyckoff analysis session, and last week we talked about it may be coming down about the price for Ripple, and indeed there were two consecutive red candles over there. And in terms of Wyckoff stages, uh, we have put in two scenarios. One is the blue scenario, where basically the buying climax happened back in December last year, and then we have gone through various stages, including the Upthrust in June this year. But that's only scenario one, because what happened was the horizontal consolidation during this period from December last year to June this year. Um, Sometimes we see these kind of patterns in a PSY cycle for some Wyckoff distribution patterns. So that's why I say there may be a scenario 2 that's being baked. That's the yellow scenario. So this entire period of half a year almost is the scenario 2 of the PSY, and the buying climax is the one we have just seen in mid-July. So if that's the case, then the uptrend of Ripple isn't over yet. So even in terms of Wyckoff, we may be able to see more. So if this yellow scenario is correct, let's say this is the buying climax. So let me keep the question mark. This was the automatic reaction. So that's the downward leg from, sorry, I have to go back to the chart. You don't know what I'm talking about. So what I have been saying, I have to repeat quickly, from December to June, that half year, that's the consolidation period I mentioned that sometimes we see in charts with PSY having that kind of pattern. And here was the buying climax, or blue scenario, Upthrust of the distribution. If it is the blue scenario, that means Ripple's distribution is nearing an end, and that would be, I should borrow this instead. So what we are seeing now is an LPSY instead of a second test. So those two scenarios, the blue one is way ahead of the yellow. And looking at what happened, past 2 weeks, the price has come down. It has been trading below the center line of the blue upward trend. And especially this week, it's also below this key level of $3.38. So if that continues, looking at the volume as well, the volume is declining. If the steam is cooling down, that means there may be some sort of horizontal trading within this purple-blue two key levels. And eventually, when it gets closer to this triangle over there, it has to break outside of this upward channel, or it has to go up above the purple level. But going above the purple level is something not tested since January 18th, 2018. So 7 years ago, more than 7 years ago, that level has been tested. So, well, you can say just in mid-July we have tested that level. Yes, that's correct, and that's even more important, because if we failed during mid-July, mid-late July, you see this whenever it gets to $3.65, a level higher than what we have seen in 2018. It got pushed really hard downwards, and both flattens at a level lower than what we had in 2018. So here, if the selling continues at similar level, or currently it's at a lower level, this purple line over here, that means a lot of people doesn't want the price to go that high, even though we have quite some buying at the level below the blue line at $3.05. So that's what the big picture is telling us, and either it's yellow or blue, whether it's either case, it's not abnormal for us to see some kind of movements downwards. Reason being, if this is an LPSY, this green candle now we have, LPSY, you see what happens. It goes up, it comes down, it goes up, and it comes down. So it is also a mini peak, kind of, after a climax or an upthrust. So that's why I say maybe there will be a leg downwards some point in time. It may not have finished yet. It can start creating another green candle, just that it meets the resistance at the center line of the upward channel, and then it comes down again. So that completes the little peak. And if this is the yellow scenario, if this is the second test that we are at right now, after second test, again, it will come down, but come down to a point where it shows a sign of weakness. A sign of weakness is a point signaling, okay, much like these over here, that the price is coming down to seek a level of support that is comfortable for another price surge. And hopefully it doesn't end the distribution cycle, because sometimes after a sign of strength happens, that's what we call phase B and phase D. It doesn't matter. Basically, there are sign of weaknesses that happens across the distribution cycle, and in the end, the price will eventually dive down to the accumulation period. So now, here, if the yellow scenario is true and it comes down for a sign of weakness, it doesn't mean it's over. Look at what happened over here. There are multiple signs of weaknesses. It's just that rather than hoping it to go to a new high, it may be trading horizontally for a while before the upthrust continues. So with this volume decline, is the scenario of the blue more likely or the yellow? Is a decline more likely in your view, or is a decline and then a rebound to a higher level more likely? Let me know in the comment. We're not done yet. Going to the micro level in terms of daily, today we have a pretty high bar. It's red, but it's okay, because looking at the candlestick, it means there are both people buying and selling. They're changing hands over there, and it's a neutral sign where it looks like the current price is around an equilibrium position based on the bullish team and the bearish team actions over here. So previously we put in a tag saying, is the price going for a second test or upthrust after this sign of weakness? And so far, as of this moment, it hasn't been able to break above the purple line. So yesterday it stopped at a level notch lower than the purple. Today it tested it, but it came down, only to find support somewhere in the middle. So if it keeps on challenging the purple, that may be a good sign for the bulls. But if it really dies down from here, that means it can potentially be the next second LPSY, the last point of supply. And the only positive thing as of this moment, if it really is the last point of supply, is that it is a higher peak than the previous last point of supply. So there's still a chance for it to trade somewhere above the purple, hopefully, for the bulls. For the bears, this may be a signal that, okay, this daily time frame distribution cycle may be nearing an end, and the key thing is whether it comes down to test the bottom edge of this upward trend, this channel box. So if it breaks outside of the channel box, the chance of it signaling the finishing of this distribution cycle is more likely. And last time during this period, or between June and July. It's not too far from now. It started basically in late May and then finishing in early July. That was a quick accumulation cycle. Now, it won't be surprising if it comes down to accumulate. It can be the same level between the yellow and green level, or it can be at the green and cyan or light blue level over here. So right below the SOW. So looking at the weekly, if the likelihood of coming down in your own view or analysis also shows, then in the daily, that means this distribution cycle is kind of over. If you say, like based on your own research, this uptrend is still continuing, even though it's showing us a sign of weakness, if it comes down to the light blue level, like over here, it can still stay within the upward channel box in the daily, and it's going to test the purple one more time. Then for the daily, you can expect a little bit of drop, but it will bounce from the channel box and come back to test these levels. But time is ticking, so if the price comes down to another sign of weakness level below this blue line over here, you see this triangle over here. When we get closer to the end of this month, if the price is really within this range, then a decision will be shown to us whether it's still going to keep within this upward channel, or is it going to go sideways or even downwards because of this corner over here. So now today is the 8th. 15th maybe a bit early, so by next session, if the price is really within this zone, it may still stay there for a bit before the actual breakout happens. But if the price is trading horizontal in this area, above the blue, below the purple, like I said, there's quite a bit of volume, change of hands today, so the likelihood of it trading horizontally within this range is larger than the range below. Then we have more time, or the bulls and bears have more time to gather sufficient strength, because the breakout by then will be near the end of September instead of near the end of this month. So depending on when we come back next week, what picture we see, we'll know how high a possibility that the uptrend is going to continue, especially in the macro scale. Because for now, it looks like it's still staying along this channel box, but when time goes on, when it trades further, when we get closer to end of September, is decision time. So it won't wait till then. I guess somewhere between early December to early September to mid-September, this breakout has to happen. So be prepared for that. We're only about 4 to 6 weeks away from that, in my view, by looking at the chart. So thanks for joining me today. I'll move on to